our Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, Father and lover of our soul. You sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You are full of grace. We acknowledge your presence in our lives. Nothing is hidden in your eyes, even our challenges and struggles in life. We come to you with faith. We ask not only for our daily spiritual bread, but to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor to heal our land, our family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases. Holy Spirit, help us to deepen our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship. As we face this pandemic, you are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. He is the truth and our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord, and most of all, not our will, but thy will be done. We pray this in Jesus' name, the name above all names, who was and is to come. Amen.
Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio, Manila.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Discover the best-kept secrets in metaphysics, law of attraction, science, and spirituality, and listen to practical mystics from around the world. Let's open Pandora's box with Reverend Reg Tan, your metaphysical minister, here in Practical Magic, your practical mystic source, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Satnam, everyone. My name is Reverend Reg, and today is Sunday. And today we have another episode of Practical Magic, and I'm very excited for all our viewers, especially for those of you who are big fans of Bob Proctor and The Secret, because today I have one of the members of Bob Proctor's group. His name is Dr. Stephen J Cosmyna and his wife Tene Kosmyna, and it's so amazing because today we're going to talk about big dreams and how do we really create patterns for success. So this is a topic that's very close to my heart because I felt like I spent the last 15 years of my life studying a lot of books about success, personal growth and development. And honestly, for a time, I wasn't really getting the momentum that I wanted. So today, I'm so excited because we have experts who can actually share to us what is it that we need to adjust and refine in the things that we need to, just be open and receptive to, so that when we make those adjustments, we can actually move closer to our goals. So before I start with introducing them, I just want to invite everyone for a simple affirmation and chanting. So please go to your meditation spot and take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. Let's do it one more time. Take a deep breath in and out. And put your right palm on your heart. Feel the beating of your heart. And together, let's affirm, I love myself for all that I was, all that I am, and all that I want to become. I am worthy because God made me so. I love myself for all that I was, all that I am, and all that I want to become. I am worthy because God made me so. I love myself for all that I was, all that I am, and all that I want to become. I am worthy because God made me so. And let's chant Satnam 3 times, one for ourselves, the next one for someone we are praying for, and the third one for our global village. Satnam. 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 You may gently open your eyes. Satnam, everyone. It feels so good when we're doing this affirmation and chanting all together. And without further ado, let me introduce to all of you Tene K. Kosmyna, and she's actually the president of Success Ocean International, a consulting, coaching, and training firm that serves individuals, small and large businesses, municipalities, and corporations. Tene is a certified Proctor Gallagher consultant specializing in helping client firms to establish a corporate culture of excellence based on exceptional character and integrity of both the individual and the organization, inclusive of its leaders and the executive team. One of her distinguishing assets is her ability to create an atmosphere of extraordinary customer service by instilling a sense of unity and team from the ground up. Tene coaches the individual she works with to make quantum leaps in goal achievement by fostering radical personal transformation within. Her approach, both professionally and personally, is warm and compassionate, holistic, and spiritually based. She is also a nutritional coach, and at the same time, she's also a certified belief clearing specialist focused on supporting and educating those afflicted with type 2 diabetes. Her unique methods teach clients how to use their inherent tools to get real, rapid, and lasting results in their lives. Tene says, I guide others to an understanding of how to activate and exercise those inner tools we all have to get better results when we find ourselves in the experience of undesirable situations and conditions. I also help individuals identify just what they did unconsciously to get great results. At times, results that they would like to duplicate, but they don't exactly know how that happened. From her own journey of having worn eyeglasses, being asthmatic, to being overweight and diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, she learned that she could do something about things that she was experiencing in her life if she desired to. And did she ever? And she adds, my normal response to situations I couldn't explain were, it's just a coincidence, or I would shrug and sigh to indicate there was nothing I could do. Often I would get quiet and indifferent and hope that the situation would resolve itself. Sometimes I would talk to a friend and family about the situation and hope that someone had the answer. However, there never seemed to be the right answer, which meant the situation continued on and on. Then finally, I asked the questions to myself, which always seemed to be partnered with a feeling of anxiety, frustration, or being trapped. How do I get better? What do I have to do to get that result? She continues. That is when I started to pay attention to the answers that were coming to me. I would often act upon the inspiration, those answers, and they would work. I didn't ignore that still small voice anymore. I found what works, and when something works great, you repeat it. That's when I knew I was onto something. And she concludes, as I took a look at what I wasn't looking at, I learned thoughts form belief thought forms beliefs leading to feelings which led us to action, and action led to results. And done properly, the manifestation of desired life experiences. For the past 20 years, she has invested in herself to receive the very best coach and consulting training and certification, to learn specific techniques that foster rapid and radical transformation. With this remembered knowledge, with applied doing and success after success, I wanted to tell the world that I started teaching what I knew, and I was recently partnered with Proctor Gallagher Institute as a consultant to help her spread the life transforming information even further. So this is so exciting because we have someone who has done the transformation, especially with the weight issue. And I like what she was sharing because this is something that a lot of our viewers are also concerned about. And I also want to introduce to everyone her husband, our very own Dr. Stephen J. Cosmyna, who's also part of the International Metaphysical Ministry. He is an inspirational speaker, an author, an ordained New Thought Unity Minister. He provides inspiration and motivation through his podcasts, the written word, and rhythm events. He is also the founder and CEO of Success Ocean International. Dr. Stephen, along with his wife Tene, is also the president, who is the president of the company, operate as Gallagher Institute consultants. With passion, enthusiasm, and excitement, they facilitate radical personal transformation and quantum leap goal achievement through a variety of programs for individuals, small businesses, and corporations. They love this work, which is really about helping others to make all their dreams come true. His mission is to communicate a message of achieving whole life success and prosperity available to everyone through the understanding of and cooperation with universal laws. Dr. Stephen has a master's degree in metaphysical science with a focus on the power of our subconscious, and his Doctor of Philosophy degree specializing in holistic life coaching. A true mystic and metaphysician, he is a member in good standing of the American Metaphysical Doctors Association and offers one on one spiritual counseling, coaching, and spiritual mind treatments as well. He is also the founder of the Genesis Frequency podcast and author of the book, The Genesis Frequency, which helps others to create the life they would love to live by cooperating with the rhythm of life. He also loves nurturing and coaching the spiritually minded entrepreneur, empowering them to live their dream lives now, which seeks to work with women and men who would like to make success, personal development, spirituality, and the law of attraction a profession and stay with a life. And in this field of human potential development, an individual can work anywhere in the world. So it's so easy to do. So that's everything about them. And I'm excited to actually talk to both of them. Satnam, Dr. Stephen, and Tene, how are you both doing?
Good. Good evening to everybody. Good evening to you.
Yeah,
Absolutely
thank you.
wonderful. Thanks for having us. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to people all over the world looking in today, especially all the people that I've had conversations with over in the Philippines and the Pacific Rim and all over the world. Welcome in. And thank you so much, Reverend Reg, for having us today.
Thank you.
Yes, of course, it's our pleasure to actually have you both, and we're all excited because we've been following your work, especially on Facebook. I know that you do a lot of posts about prosperity and well being and wholeness and getting motivated for one to achieve their goals. So, this is actually one of the interviews that we look forward to having. So, thank you for finding time for us today. So,
We're
anyway,
thrilled to be
uh,
here.
fantastic. One of the things that actually excites me to ask you both, how are you able to maximize this whole situation about the pandemic? And at the same time, we know that you're both very motivated to get the job done, regardless of what's happening around.
Oh my gosh.
I
We
can
could be
take
here
that
all
if you
day.
want.
Yes.
What it comes down to is we all have a choice. And even in the
Yeah.
beginning of this, when none of us knew what the future held, Tene and I were both making videos and broadcasting and putting out information, telling people, hey, you get to make a choice. What did we
Yeah.
see? We saw people scrolling through and on social media asking each other, oh, what do we do? There was panic setting in, and they're running around buying toilet paper and wondering what they should watch next on Netflix, right? What do we do? What's
Yeah.
Netflix? I watched everything. Oh my God. We were sharing from day one. How about working on you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything in the outer, as you know, Rev Reg, is that
Yeah.
is temporary. So we're going to
Yes.
move through it one way or another, right? So
Yeah.
since we're going to move through what is temporary, we always do, we get to make choices where we are right now. We get to decide
Yes.
what it is we want. What do we want our life to look like, despite what's going on around us?
Mhm.
That's going to happen.
Mhm.
Let it be. What are we in control of? We're in control of what's in here and what we think of. So that's what we did from day one. We just kind of locked arms and said, you know what? We're using this time to build our business, to create the life we would love to live. And we just went to work day after day after day. And we're still doing that same thing.
Yes. And thank you for doing it because, in fact, I'm also very picky with who I follow on Facebook.
Oh,
Because you want to, imbibe the energy of the people you're
yeah.
actually looking up to. And for me, I know it's something that I also want to build over time, a thriving coaching practice. And at the same time, one thing that I really love about your work is that you're supportive of entrepreneurs because there are so many small business owners that are actually watching the show and following V81 radio.
Okay.
So, one of the things that we have in our V81 radio channel is that we have this marketplace. If you have Amazon in the States, we have what we call Big Benta, and it's something that is a counterpart for Amazon. So I know that a lot of the people who are watching the show will be able to take advantage of the tips that they're going to get tonight. So I'm really amazed that both of you, as a couple, you're both decided that you want to be in the consulting business and you're both very motivated to get big goals done. And not just any goals. You really have something that's mapped out with a timeline, and not everyone, not all couples I know work that way. What was the motivation for both of you to get into this together?
Well, I've talked a lot. You go ahead.
Well, most people will use the phrase like-mindedness. And to an extent, that is very true. But with the law of attraction, you bring into your life that person, those people, the situations, the opportunities. And we brought each other together so that because we really wanted to do this. This is just something that is from within. We work on ourselves and we want to work help others work on themselves as well.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Well, you know, and I want to add to that a little bit as far as coming together and working together.
Mhm.
You know, I've been in personal development, doing personal development for a living since really 2013, 2014. I was ordained in the Unity movement in 2014, and I started my business opportunity and I still have. I set individuals up in the personal development industry so they can be in this great personal growth industry with their own business. And I still do that.
Yeah.
But I was going along my path. I got ordained, and I take care of a small church here in Florida. We got out of the Detroit area in the cold and the dark and the gray. All our family and friends are still up there. But, you know, after I got my doctorate and I was thinking, like, well, what's next? And I was really looking at doing something with Jack Canfield and going into the Train the Trainer program. And then I said, well, if I'm going to look at Jack, I should look at Bob, because I wanted to align with somebody that had that deep spiritual connection. And I knew I knew that Mr. Bob Proctor did. I followed Bob for a long time. I've taught a lot of Bob's material. And in fact, Bob was a ghostwriter on some of the material and consulted on some of the material in my other program. But the thing that I wanted to do was, you know, just to grow into more. And I ended up on the phone with Bob. I talked to one of his top guys, Arash Visagi, and we were on the phone talking, and he just said, hold on, I think Bob is home right now. And he texted Bob, and Bob got on the phone with me, and we're talking for about an hour and a half, just about, you know, everything but consulting and coaching and things like that. And I knew right then and there that it was the direction, it was in divine order, divine guidance leading me to work with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. But I was still kind of on my own path, and Tene was doing her thing with the diabetes work, helping people to reverse type 2 diabetes and get their weight under control and all these other health challenges. And I said, Tene, I'm on the phone with Bob Proctor. We got to talk. And I said, why don't we combine what we do? Well, let's do it together as a couple, as a team, and we're going to be more powerful that way. So that's really how it came together.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because it's so amazing that you have this abundance of energy. I can feel your vibration. It's amazing. And so many people are actually saying hi to both of you. Dr. Anita Caprice is watching. Abby is also here saying hi to both of you.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that a lot of people are engaged right now. In fact, one of my clients, who's also a big boss for one of the banks, sent me a message that she's catching up with the show. She's just finishing something. So a lot of people are raving about your presence right now, because Tene talked about the law of attraction, and you also mentioned about the diabetes thing. And diabetes is actually a big thing here in the Philippines, because so many people are actually affected by it. So so I'm very happy that you're able to use the power of the mind to, you know, transform your health concern into something that was really going to bring out the best in you. So can you please share more about it to us?
Oh, absolutely. I look back now and I see where I think, was it Steve Jobs? You can't connect the dots looking forward, but you certainly can connect the dots looking backwards. At the time, I did not know what was going on. I just knew what I was going through internally, meaning what my thoughts were, what my feelings were. On a daily basis, about work, about relationships, about money, about, oh my God, you name it. Just what am I a good enough daughter? Am I a good enough sister? All of these things were going on. And I didn't realize that what I was thinking about on the inside was really coming out in the form of dis-ease within me. And it did. And I just remember going to lunch one day, and I went back to my office, and I thought I just kept nodding off. And I thought for a moment, am I developing narcolepsy? Because I had no idea what was going on. And I really don't know enough about narcolepsy to even talk about it. But in that instant, that's what I thought. And I called the doctor. I went, and the doctor said, well, yeah, your A1C level is very high, and you're a type 2 diabetic. And at that moment, I wanted to just really disappear, because I just thought, oh my God, I've become a statistic. I just can't believe this happened to me. I'm supposed to be living well and eating well. And how did this happen? And then in the next breath, she said, you know what? I have a patient that when he did what I told him to do, he reversed his type 2 diabetes. And I perked up and I thought, wait, let's go back here. Now I really wanted to pay attention. I said, well, how did he do it? Well, she just said, well, he ate right. Well, it's way more than just eating right. It's eating mind, body, and spirit. And I soon learned that. And then after that, it's just been over 15 years now. And I have used I've used that intellectual faculty of the will to keep it always at the top of my mind, that that I am in excellent health, that I am in perfect alignment. And there's so many things that go into excellent health, perfect health, like I desire this perfect health that I have. That is not one thing or two things. So those are things I could be here all day. It would be an all day session to explain every single thing, but it's a combination of belief. It's a combination of affirmations, repetition of things, it's decision and commitment to understand that once you make a decision and you commit to it, you are definitely going to have exactly what it is that you're looking for.
Yes, thank you so much for affirming the words decision, commitment, and repetition. Because I think a lot of us, we would say at the start of the year, you want to lose some weight, you want to be stronger, you want to be healthier, things like that. But of course, all throughout the year, it's really going to take a lot of willpower from a person to sustain that. And it's amazing that you're able to sustain it for 15 years. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing because when you talked about belief and having that willpower, I'm happy that you're sharing this to our audience, because there's still a big number of Filipinos who think that it's what they eat that causes them to have these health concerns. Although I'm not discounting the fact that, of course, the way you eat has a lot to do with what's happening in your body.
Absolutely.
But I like it that you're emphasizing the power of belief, willpower, and repetition, so that you can actually sustain the transformation that you want. I want to ask you, Tene, what do you think is the number one most difficult thing why people are held back from transformation? Because for you, all of a sudden, you said you don't want to become part of the statistic anymore. So, did you ever go through that phase where you also had that dialogue where you were telling yourself, maybe I'm going to try again tomorrow, but for today, I'm going to maintain my old habit? Was there that particular back and forth thing that you had to go through when you were changing your eating habits?
So before the diagnosis, yes. I was going through that up and down roller coaster of, I'll just try again tomorrow. And actually, I was really fooling myself, because I would eat something and I would really forget that I actually had eaten it, and then give myself permission to have it later, something decadent or something just delicious later in the day.
Convenient.
I know. I would just forget that I ate it earlier. But then once the diagnosis came, it was that emotional impact on me of those words that came from the doctor that just like shocked me. And I really went into mode of wanting to be in excellent health. All I wanted to do was live. I wanted all of my extremities. I wanted to make sure that I kept my eyesight. I just wanted to live a long, healthy life. I went from the roller coaster of, oh, I'll just try again. Why does this keep happening to me? To and my paradigm changed. Absolutely.
Wow.
So you cannot change your results until you change your paradigm. And that's exactly what I did. So that a paradigm is a multitude of habits that has almost exclusive control over everything you do, what you eat, why you eat it, how you look and walk, and what you wear, who you choose in your life. And when I say choose, that law of attraction, choose in your life. And once I changed the paradigm of what I was eating and how I was eating and why I was eating it and what I wanted and the habits, that's exactly what happened. It all just came together to excellent health.
Making me hungry.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. But I wanted to ask you, was Dr. Stephen already your boyfriend at that time? Were you guys married already?
No, we were not married. We've been friends for a very long time, but we were not married at that time.
All right. So, but at that time you were going out already as a, just dating.
I was.
Yeah. Nice. Fantastic.
No, you mean
And
with
she
Dr.
used to be real big too. This tiny little thing here, you'd all need a widescreen TV before. Maybe on the break I'll go get a picture because she used to be more than 200 pounds.
I was about 200 pounds.
So, but were you already a couple then, or just dating at that time?
No, not at that.
No.
Not at the beginning of her journey. No.
No, not at the beginning of my journey. No, I was there. You know, we both dated other people. So yes,
Awesome.
no. And when you think about eating and having that diagnosis come upon you, and I may do a class on it. Because when you go out on dates and you're amongst friends and you're amongst family, there are those social norms that you think that you have to fit into. And there's the frustration and the anger and the anxiety that comes along with that in order to try to appear that you are just like everybody else and you want to keep up with everybody else, but yet you want to keep your health the way that you want. And I had to deal with that, and I did.
Yeah.
And again, I came first. I had to learn to love me first so that I could get back to health.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And it's a very amazing story now because it really sparked interest that, when you talk about the law of attraction and your weight loss, and then you took care of yourself first. So at what point in that weight loss journey did you attract Dr. Stephen? Was it like, okay, this year I wanted to lose the weight, get healthier, and then did he start asking you out?
Now, so the way, I don't know, your viewers are very big, very strong with the law of attraction. So feeling is the nature. So when you start to be clear about whatever it is you want, whether it's the characteristics of a person that you want in your life, whether it's the height, it's the style, it's the personality, those are things that you're attracting. You have to be very clear. When we go to a restaurant and so the waiter or waitress says, how can I help you? What would you like to eat? What would you like to order? 99% of the time, you're very clear about, I would like an omelet with cheese and onion and green pepper and maybe broccoli or what have you. And when you're very specific about what it is that you're going to order, you state it and it comes to you. Well, I was very specific, as well as Stephen was as well. We were both very specific about what it was that we wanted in the person that we wanted in our lives. And although we were in each other's stratosphere, we still hadn't come together. But once you become clear with the universe about what it is that you desire, you can't help but bring in those people and the situations and the opportunities. And voila, he appeared.
So more to your question, she had dropped the weight and lost that before I came into the physical picture.
Exactly.
Right. We were married in 2017. So a lot of people would call us newlyweds. It'll be 4 years come April. However, I say that we met in the 13th century. She says the 17th century. We go back and forth a little bit. So it's been hundreds and hundreds of years.
It does, because you attract that person. So it's been in the spiritual realm. It's been very long time.
Yeah, and I really like what you're sharing, Tene, especially about the food, because you're very specific. Because even I had to lose a lot of weight, and
Okay.
yeah, I used to blog for food, and I always get invited to restaurants, of course. And there was a time I was assigned to write for 7 restaurants a day, and
Oh
you could
my
just and everybody wanted to serve you the best of everything so that you can write the best reviews for them. So I know people think sometimes it's very detailed when you talk about food, but I can relate to what you're saying. So thank you for sharing that.
Now you're
And
both making me hungry.
so anyway, I like it that you're sharing this, and I would not know that you had any past like that, because you're both such good-looking, empowered couple.
Thank you.
So when we had this, you're welcome. You know, when we were talking about it last Friday, that you both had such a long journey to transformation and personal growth and development, and you had a lot of stories to share about overcoming.
Mhm.
I really get excited about it because a lot of our viewers, the last 7 episodes, have been coming up to me through chat about their own stories of overcoming and how they're inspired by the people who are guests in our show. They've picked up a tool or two, but it seems like for both of you, a lot of people can relate to the mundane aspect of it, especially the eating part and having to meet someone along the way. Because especially, I know that both of you are working with Bob Proctor, and so many Filipinos actually watch the movie The Secret
Yes.
and are into the law of attraction. So another thing that I want to ask, because for Dr. Stephen, it seems that you're very goal oriented. And is that something that you've always been into? Were you always a goal getter?
No, I did, well, maybe always a goal getter, but I was never, I didn't really use goals in my life. I just kind of, my goal was lunchtime, my short-term goal, and my long-term goal was dinner and happy hour, you know. But as we grow and we awaken spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, I have a story for you for the next time we do a show. And I went through a trilogy of tribulation to get where I am today. Bob Proctor helped us to really get clear on our goals and get boiled down to one real worthy goal. That's what we teach our clients in our Thinking into Results program, is to narrow it down to maybe to a personal or professional goal, but no more than that, because that was me before then. I had a list of everything that I wanted to do on a sheet of paper, but there was so much there. I'd dabble with this one, then I'd go dabble with this one, and I'd go to the bottom and dabble with this one. Well, I'm dabbling with this one on the bottom. I'm not giving my attention to the one on top. Now, we both have our alumni of the University of Metaphysics and the University of Sedona. I had that on a page. I'd get my new planner every January, and it seemed like every year it was like, okay, University of Sedona, and do this, and start my podcast and do this. But I found that every year I'm just transferring the same stuff, and nothing was getting done, because I didn't have, as Bob Proctor teaches, a well-defined, worthy, big dream goal. Not the goals that we know how to do, not the goals that we think we can do, but what Bob teaches, a C-type goal, the big dream goal. I didn't have that.
That you don't know how to do.
Yeah, so we were both going along and doing a lot of the things that we teach now, but not in a sense of an orderly fashion. Now, we go way back metaphysically. Her whole family's a metaphysical family. And I first walked into Unity and Metaphysical Church 40 years ago. But putting it together, what we know doesn't always translate to what we do.
Yes, exactly. I love that you mentioned it because in our training as athletes, we have this thing where your coach will give you instructions about how to execute a particular routine.
Mm-hmm.
You know it from the conscious level.
Right.
But when the coach looks at you, if you're executing it correctly, you're not exactly executing it the way they're telling you to do it. That's why I love the discussions about the subconscious mind and how you're supposed to program it so that you can align that particular big dream with your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and your actions. And
Right.
especially, I love about what you're doing right now is you're talking about big goals, goals that you don't know how to do.
Mhm.
I can certainly relate to it because when practical magic was just an idea back then, I really didn't know how to put things together.
That's right.
And everybody was surprised because prior to the show, and they were looking at my previous videos, they were surprised that I was just using a mobile phone for everything.
Ah,
So how things actually came through, it was something that I can relate to. You know, how are you gonna organize everything and much more get all the guests that I have guested on the show the last 8 seasons, you guys being the eighth one,
oh,
and how are you gonna put that all together? So I'm very excited that you're putting out this content because
good.
I know a lot of our viewers are excited as well. In fact, some of them are messaging me, so later we'll have time for it.
Okay.
And
Sure.
for now, we'll pause for a short commercial break and keep your questions uh, just at bay, and we'll get back to you later.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We'll be back shortly. This is Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O di ba madali lang, kaya i-like at i-follow na. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist? Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! A spirit-filled song that talks about healing from the Lord Jesus Christ, our great healer.
Nasasaktan, kumikirot ang aking puso.
Hilumin mo awit ng kagalingan at pagsamba by Felsen.
Hilumin mo ang sugat ng aking puso.
Digitally available everywhere and here on V81 Radio.
Ikot pagturo ko dahil lang ngayon at ang bukas.
Now back to Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Satnam.
All right.
Satnam.
We are back.
Yes. Fantastic. This is great. Satnam, everyone. Satnam, everyone.
Satnam.
You're back here in Practical Magic, and I'm your host, Reverend Reg, and I have Tene and Dr. Stephen J Cosmyna, and we're getting to know them better because they're actually big on goals and success And a lot of us are actually wanting to hit our targets for next year, 2021. So I'm very sure that a lot of you are also excited. How do you actually break down those big goals? So, for instance, here's a question about sales. I have this goal for next year, which is to hit about 1 million pesos for my business. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to break down the task. So, do you want to answer this, Dr. Stephen?
Yeah, you take it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's a good start, is to have that big dream goal like we've been talking about. And it's good that you don't know how, because then you know it's a big dream goal. See, the how is none of our business. If we already know how, then it's not a big enough goal. So you have this goal and this dream that you're going to do it. Okay. So what you have to, where you begin is where you are right now, right? You've identified it. Do you know
Yeah.
why you want that? What is the reason why you want that? So you want to make, because you want to make sure it's very clearly, because a lot of people just have a goal. Oh, I want to have a lot of money. Well,
Yeah.
how much is it? How much do you need specifically? Why do you want a lot of money? What are you going to do with it? What is it for? See, we sometimes spend 3 or 4 weeks with somebody just getting
Yeah.
down the goal onto a little card like this that says, I am so happy and grateful now that, and then you want to state that goal in the present tense, right? So this is where we start. So if that's indeed is your goal for next year, to grow your business to that point, you want to state it very clearly. You don't think about the how. That is none of your business. We give the how up to all the energy that is. We give the how up to the divine.
Exactly.
How is a God job. But we have to, like today,
Amazing.
we go to the restaurant and we know how to place our order. We look at the menu. I want this, this, and this. Well, we can't just say we want anything. We have to write it down and write it out specifically. I'm so happy and grateful. I have, what was the goal again? 1 million pesos?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would write that down in the affirmative present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am generating 1 million pesos in my business on a yearly basis. So we would write that down on a card or whatever feels comfortable and right for your guest. And then we would write that down every day. And we were talking earlier about repetition. I would get out a notebook and I would write that 100 times. You go to one of Bob Proctor's seminar, he's going to have you write it out 100 times with your non-dominant hand, your left hand. So it think what we're doing is, Tene touched on paradigms, those multitude of habits that keep us stuck. We don't know how, and that's okay. We're going to find out how. The how will be revealed to us after each step we take. There's a Martin Luther King quote that says, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to see the next step. So when we know what it is we want, then we ask ourselves, what is it that I could do right now, that I should do right now, and that if I did do right now, will move me that step closer to my dream. Like if I want to get to that wall across the room on the other side of the room, and there's all kind of stuff and debris and obstacles in my way, well, I know that I can look down, clear out in front of me, and I can take a step. And then the next day, I can take another step, and sooner or later, I'm going to get to that wall. And so that is as the hows drop in. When they start dropping in, the how is revealed when we make that commitment.
That's right.
So I invite your listener to say, I am committed to doing this. I will do this. And then drop the can, drop the will, drop the try, drop the strive, and move into the commitment. I am this now. I am that. I am. I am now so happy and grateful that I'm a business owner generating over 1 million pesos on an annual basis. Thanks be to God.
Wow. Amazing. The thing about what you mentioned about saying that you are committed to it and doing it 100 times using your non-dominant hand, it's very new to me. So I'm excited for it. So is it okay to modify it? Like I have this 108 mala. And if do it, would you suggest that I do it 108 times using this.
Well, you know what?
It-
Bob would tell you do both.
Exactly.
Because the writing gets us thinking.
Writing causes emotion, internalization of it. It goes with the why as well. So when you're writing it, you're also thinking also and remembering and feeling of the reason why you want it as you are actually writing it as well. But I, as Stephen touched on earlier, came from a family that we did write things down, but we also spoke things as well. So I would absolutely do both.
I would take that and I would write it down. And then what I would do is I would take my mala, my beads, my prayer beads, and I would walk along a seawall when I was living in St. Petersburg, and I would affirm in the present tense during my walk, that my meditative prayer walk, and I would use my beads to repeat over and over and over again what I carry on my goal card.
Wow. So it's something like this. I'm going to apply it for myself. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm making ₱1,000,000 every year. So is that something that our viewer can use?
What was that you can what?
I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning ₱1,000,000 every year. Is
Yeah.
that something you would
Yeah,
recommend?
and you know what you can do to help you with that too. And if you want to massage it a little bit, you can start breaking it down. What does that break to on a monthly basis? What does that break down to on a weekly basis? Then what does it break down to on a daily basis? And then whatever that is, hold yourself accountable to do that, whatever that is. We call that's from the Jack Canfield school of chunking it down.
It's
You break it
incremental
down
goals
into
then.
bite-sized pieces, into
Exactly.
those steps. But yeah, keep that big dream goal. Feel it. You know, if you
Exactly.
I studied a lot of Neville for my paperwork, and in
Feel it.
my broadcast, my podcast right now, I'm going through Neville Goddard's The Power of Awareness on the Genesis frequency that you can find out there on Amazon or Google Podcasts or any of those podcasts and iHeartRadio and Stitcher and all that. But Neville will say we have to be in the state of consciousness that it is ours now. We have to feel it real now. We have to come from it, not think of it. You don't want to find yourself, I'm thinking of how nice that would be when that gets here. That puts it in a distant future that doesn't exist. I keep putting my hands in front of her face. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I talk with my hands too much. But that's what you want to do. You want to come from the goal. You want to come from it. You are that now. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. So come from it now. Live it. Walk every step in the energy of that being your reality now.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. You know, one time I came across your wall and you have Robert Collier's book,
Oh, yeah.
Riches Within Your Reach.
Right.
And one of the things that I did was to practice what he was saying. So in one of the chapters of the book, he was encouraging people to dress your best and then go out and dare to expect something big is going to happen for you. So one day I had $2 in my pocket and I was supposed to attend a digital marketing training, and it's gonna cost me $50 to actually attend that training. So on the way to the hotel where the training was going to happen, I asked myself, you know what? In the middle of my travel, I told myself, you know what? I have to go down the bus, but I still have to maximize the exercise of expecting the best. So what I did was I went down EDSA Shangri-La. It's one of the malls here. And I was asking myself, you know, something has to happen because I dared to move. So I went to the coffee shop and my money was just enough to buy a water bottle. But I was still telling myself, you know what, something's going to happen because I moved and I'm practicing the principle. So I was there dressed in my business attire and I heard someone, he was looking for actors. And since I have clients who are actors, I went up to the guy and then I told him, you know, I have friends and I have clients who are actors. So if you're casting someone, you probably want to check my circle. And then he asked me what I was doing, and I told him I was an energy healer, and he got very curious. So he went down to get me coffee because he already met other healers and he knew about the energy exchange concept. So that was the first thing that demonstrated out of me daring to go out. And the other thing was, while he was downstairs getting me coffee, one of my clients sent me a text and she said, I just deposited money for our session the other day. And that's what I was saying.
That's right.
You really have to dare and believe that something will happen.
Exactly. The energy field, energy, you're an energy healer. So, energy is us, as us, through us, around us. We are in an atmosphere of energy. We are immersed in it. It's around us. So when you put that out there, it couldn't help but just transform into your client saying, hey, I just deposited this money. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Pam Grout's book, E Squared, I don't know if you ever read that, the very first chapter is, hey, prove this, prove it, ask for a blessing, and then step out into your day, give the universe, say, hey, I want a blessing in the next 24 hours and make it obvious so that I can see it and feel it. Spirit, speak to me in ways I cannot possibly ignore. And walk in that energy as you did. Way to model and demonstrate that, but we can all do that because it is responsive to us. It's action, reaction, action, reaction. That's what the law of attraction is. But so many people look to the law of attraction as the primary law, but it's not. It's a secondary law. There are 8 laws that precede the law of attraction. It's cause and effect. Attraction is an effect. We have to understand, gain the knowledge and the understanding of the laws that precede the law of attraction.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. It's so amazing when you're in this vortex of energy. You're so excited, and you also have other people to exchange your excitement with, because I know that it's going to bring about the manifestation. So one time I was trying to demonstrate the tools for the show, and then I told myself, you know what, if I buy this luggage and visualize that there's going to be a laptop and money, I know it's gonna come to pass. So I bought the luggage first.
That's
and
right.
then it's amazing because someone sponsored the laptop, and the next thing was one of my clients who I did work with for space clearing and coaching. She called me up and she said, the year's about to end, so I want to work with you again for my goals next year. So I know that if you put the intention out there,
That's right.
and you don't have any doubt, it's really going to unfold. Like what Dr. Stephen said, there's an action and there's the reaction.
Yes. Yes.
So what do you suggest, aside from that person who wanted to make ₱1 million? What should be that person's initial step?
Write it.
Write it down.
Write it down. That would be the initial step. Write it down and get completely clear. It's writing it down, but it's saying why you want it. There has to be a reason why, because it's not going to fuel you. You're not going to be attached to it if you don't have the reason why.
And then the next step really would be is to have a little brainstorming session with yourself. Be vigilant. Guard your thoughts about any negativity coming in. And know that this is your truth, because what the mind can, from Napoleon Hill, what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So then you sit down and you designate some time and start to make a list with a pad of paper, no distractions, of everything. Remember, I was talking about taking that step, no matter how big or how small. In fact, there's no big and small anyway when we really get into this.
Exactly.
But you sit down and you start making a list of everything that you could do now, that you should do now, that would move you closer. Okay, if I don't have the company yet, what is my company name? How will I serve? Because, there's a law of compensation that says, it's how good we do what we do and how good we provide a service and how unique we are in that, just to kind of paraphrase what the law actually is. So decide how are you going to be in service? Start writing down how can I be the very best of what I do and what I deliver? How can I touch the most people? And just start writing all those ideas down. It doesn't matter. You're not going to act on all of them all at one time.
It's impossible.
But you're starting to think, and you're starting to move in a positive direction. You're starting to condition your consciousness that I'm going to move in this direction. Then later on, we're going to look at the paradigms, the blocks that keep you experiencing the same results. But you want to sit down, and we do that with our program, Thinking into Results. We do that in the very first lesson. In fact, it's question number 7. What are the things? Make a list of everything that you can do now that supports what you have on this goal card. What is it that you can do now that supports everything you want to be, do, and have? And then you're going to focus on those things, right? Because you don't want to focus on doing the things that support what you don't want.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you mentioned making a pile of the things that will move you closer to the outcome. Because one of the things I learned from Warren Buffett, he was saying, you have 16 hours a day, and write down your top 25 goals and pick only the top 5, which you can do every day for 16 hours, and make sure that the whole year you're not doing anything that's outside of those top 5 goals. And like what you mentioned, Dr. Stephen, about you want to have a business, you don't have the money for it yet, then have the company name.
Yeah,
So
and
I think
see the whole thing in your mind's eye. You have to incorporate. My whole dissertation was on visualization. You have to see the whole picture. You have to write your story. You have to describe it in detail. We have the law of specificity, meaning to be specific. What does it look like? Start filling in the blanks. You can do that now. Anybody out there can do this now. They can write it out, write out their life script, write out their story, because we're starting to develop the image, and we're going to move into that image and walk in the energy of this image 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to be in the energy of our dream being real right now, because if we can think it in the world of non-form, in our imagination, on the screen in our mind, it has to move to our world of form.
Yeah, amazing. So was that the same thing for both of you when you got together? Were you wanting to manifest a partner?
Yes. Yes.
I was on her vision board.
Yes.
Right down to the name and everything.
He was.
Wow.
He was. I've studied vision boards. I've used vision boards for a very long time. And you get very specific, but I laugh because I've had vision boards where it's not, my manifestations have not come clear because I wasn't very clear. Just say I wanted a couch or I wanted a vehicle. It ended up being somebody close to me instead of mine. So I wasn't very clear about what was coming into my life. But yes, we got together because I became very clear about the characteristics that I wanted in a person. I wanted everything he is. He was written about.
But really, did you put this photo in your vision board?
No, I did not have a photo. Because when you're thinking about and you're talking about characteristics of the person that you want, no photos. You're just bringing in that person's essence, their personality, their characteristics, what that makes up the person, the laughter. If you want somebody that makes you laugh, will make you laugh, or just all of the things from respect to
Yeah.
right. So respect to really truly loving you, treating you appropriately, all of these things, those are the most important things. And yes, you can say how tall you maybe want somebody to be, but be very specific about it. And then all of a sudden, someone will appear in your life, but you have to then be aware of what it is that you said, because sometimes, because people don't know what they really want, someone will appear, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, that's not what I really wanted, but in actuality it just didn't have the look of the person probably maybe that you thought would be there. So you
Yeah.
just be specific about whatever it is, whether it's money, love, health, vocation, contribution to society. Be specific.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing it, because a lot of the things that you're mentioning right now, they're validating my practices. In fact, what I did in my room, there's a big wall, and instead of having vision boards, what I did was I had a vision wall.
Ah,
I used the entire wall for all the things that I
I,
want to come to pass.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And how many things have
Because
you checked off already?
a lot of the, for example, last year, I got this planner and I would write down the things that I wanted to demonstrate. And because I know that one of the things that I wanted to demonstrate was to make metaphysics uh, get across a bigger audience.
Okay.
And although I didn't realize that the pandemic was going to be a gateway for it, because the person who offered me to have a show,
Okay.
they guested me during the pandemic,
Ah,
and it's what opened up to this show.
very nice.
So one of my intentions to get metaphysics a bigger audience is already crossed out that wall.
I love it.
And I'm very happy, because one of my intentions many years ago was to get a lot of teachers to share their own techniques to a
Mm-hmm.
bigger audience, because I think there's so much to learn from each other,
Yes.
and there's always going to be a new energy, that level of excitement that we all want to bounce off each other.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why I'm happy to have the show every Sunday. You get a kick for it, so Monday you start taking action.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
so I know for myself that later, after the show, I'm gonna start doing this 108 thing, where
Okay.
I'm gonna affirm something and write it down 100 times,
Okay.
because it excites me when you start doing the action part.
Yes.
It's the thing that excites you most in any lesson or any reading of a book.
Yes. You're applying it. Exactly. You're modeling. And we say that all of the time. We model and demonstrate. And sometimes people take that phrase, model and demonstrate, as, oh my God, you're trying to be perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's not understanding the words model and demonstrate. We're just proving it. We know that it works. We know that, we follow the laws of the area that we live in, so that there's no lawlessness. It should not be lawlessness. We have to follow the laws that are invisible to us. Just because we can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist. So
Yeah.
you just have to do it. And just because, again, you don't think that they're there, but if you start looking at the results in your life, you realize maybe I should take a step back and listen to people who are doing these things and who have learned these
Yes.
things, And
Yes.
then that's why we model and demonstrate, because we really do want people to have a very great life, and not just the life that they have now. They have no idea what type of lives that they could possibly have, because they have not been able to really understand how to use the invisible, the universal laws. They have no
Yes.
idea what they could possibly do.
I love it that you're bringing the energy up with this expectation of there's something more, Tene.
Yes.
And it's something that I can totally relate to, because 2 weeks ago, I was reading, I began reading about the life of Steve Jobs.
Mm.
And I'm still reading it actually. And going over the scenarios in his life, he and his friend didn't really have an idea how it was going to come about. And now it's a very big company. It's serving a lot of people. A lot of our viewers are using Apple. So I'm very sure that the energy that you're putting out to that greater experience of that bigger life, of the big dreams that both you're talking about, it's just amazing. And it's something that people should actually work uh, and look into this year before 2021,
Absolutely.
because anything is possible.
Absolutely. And anything is absolutely possible. You know, when you look into the big dream, you have to give yourself permission
Wow.
to dream. Because when you're a kid, there's no word as permission in terms of dreaming and fantasy and imagining. When you're a kid, you just do it because, that's what kids do. But when you hit the threshold of now you're officially an adult, that's when all of a sudden you're starting to adapt to the social norms of, oh, well, that's for kids. But if we go back even biblically, what does it state? That we're supposed to be like children. And
Yes.
if you put that in context there, then yes, you do want to imagine, you do want to fantasize, because those are the spaces, the energy spaces where you are just flying into whatever you're imagining, into whatever it is that you want to be, do, or have. There are no restrictions. And that's where that I don't know how is really going to come from.
Wow. So excited that we're having this conversation, because I I just know that you manifest faster when you're with a group of people who are excited.
Yes, you do. You do. You really do have to be, and Stephen knows this as well. You have to really think about who you're around. If you're around people who are not going to be as excited as you and not be on the same page as you, just tend not to. You change the subject. You change the subject, or you start inviting other people into your space, and then the people who aren't supposed to be there, they will just trickle away. It's just the way that it is. I went with me, and every from dating to health to money, you start to think about, I don't want to hear anyone else's thoughts. I'm just going to be completely concentrated on exactly what it is that is on my goal. My goal. Stephen and I just talked about goals. Use the intellectual power of the will to keep everybody that is not encouraging you on that C type level, keep them away. If they're encouraging you on the A type level, then those are people you really do not want to continue to listen to, because they're encouraging you in the space that you're already in. You want somebody that says, oh yeah, absolutely. You can absolutely do that. And then help you achieve that I don't know how it's going to happen goal. That's the type of people you want around you.
Yes. I love it that you're both saying this, because it validates so much of all the books that I've read. And I know that it's not going to be the same for everyone. But the fact that your friend is demonstrating something, you know that you're next. and it's going to be as amazing for you as it is for the other people in your circle.
Exactly.
Last September, we toast someone's birthday
Okay.
in my prayer circle. Actually, it was the two of them. And the other one wanted to have money to enroll in an English class. And she did. Because after the birthday toast, her husband sent her money. And the other one, she wanted to win back the money she used in the slot machine.
Okay.
And she did. And then both of them were saying, Rev Reg, you're gonna be next to demonstrate some.
Exactly.
And the thing is, after she mentioned that, one of my clients also sent me a gift. So I know that when you're in a circle of people who are excited, they're gonna bring it up.
Exactly.
So anyway, Dr. Stephen and Tene, where can the viewers find both of you so that they can keep this energy up?
Well, right now we're in our living room.
I mean, if they want to connect with you and interact with you.
Yeah, the last name can be a challenge, but we're really all over social media, probably predominantly Facebook. But let me give you a couple options. On Facebook, of course, I'm Stephen, Stephen, with the middle initial J, and the last name is Kos, as in Sam, M as in Mary, Y as in yellow, N as in Nancy, A as in apple. And of course, Tene has her own page, Tene, K for a middle initial, and the same last name. But our page together is Dr. Stephen and Tene Success Ocean International. So the easy way would be just to type in Success Ocean on Facebook, and you will find our business page. And I'll tell you what, for all your listeners, we invite a few goal-oriented people into our private group. We have a private group called Success Ocean Inner Circle. And there we share a little bit more. We do more live videos, and we work with people. Maybe they're not quite ready to move into one of our programs, but we move them into the private group where you'll get a little bit more attention from us. And we invite you into that, Rev Reg, to come on into Success Ocean Inner Circle. So that's number one. We have a website right now, the genesisfrequency.com. We call it our website now. It started as one of my dreams just to support my podcast, the Genesis Frequency, but then we put a page for Tene on there, and I got another page for today, and we got more of ministry stuff on there and a little bit of everything, but that's where my podcast lives. But there's also places on there to fill out a form to book a time with us.
Yes.
We encourage people to book a time with us. Tene's calendar is really easy. It's tene.vip, Tene.vip, and you can get on Tene's calendar for those of you that
yes, we're flashing it on the screen.
Okay.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's where you're going to see when you go over to. Well, actually, you'll see our picture now if you go over to that actual page. But that's the name of our company, and you type that in or type our name, and you're going to find us, or the Genesis Frequency. And again, the genesisfrequency.com is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and among many others. And we're just picked up by the largest podcast distributor in India as well. So we're all over the world with that. And you can find us all over. We have a couple things we're working on, another website specifically looking at Tene and the work that she does in the health and wellness arena. And then I'm focusing more on the professional, the business, and the sales arena, along with everything else, even the individuals who want to work on their big dream goals. So we encourage you to reach out and just send us a message on Messenger. Hey, mention the show, and we'll work with you and move you to the front of the list, so to speak.
Wow, that's great. And another thing that I like about your work, Dr. Stephen, is that you talk about the importance of bringing the spiritual aspect of helping one achieve one's goals. Because we know by the virtue of the law of attraction, you can manifest anything. But I like what you mentioned at the start of the show, where you wanted to have that more spiritual base. That's why you got in touch with Bob Proctor.
Yeah, that was a natural extension, and thanks for opening that door for me, because I want to speak specifically to your listeners and the Filipino people as well, because one thing you don't know about me, and I know you have a population that's the demographic is very heavily Catholic and Roman Catholic, and I was born and raised Catholic. I went to Catholic schools. I had 3 aunts that were nuns, that were sisters, and sometimes people think, well, this doesn't go along with whatever faith that you're in. And you know what? This actually supports whatever faith that you're in. This makes you a better whatever you consider yourself to be. Now, let's just take a quick snapshot of what I mean by that. Tene was talking about our thoughts and how we guard our thoughts and we shut out what's out there and what is non-supportive of what we want to achieve in our lives. Our thoughts are prayers. We have 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day, okay? If our thoughts are prayers, how were we taught to pray? How were we taught by the master teacher and way shower Jesus to pray? He said to go in your room and shut the door and pray in private to your Father, which is in heaven, where he will hear you, right? We find that in Scripture. To go into our room metaphysically means that we shut everything else out. We shut the door to the outside world, the outside influences, and go within where we have that communion, where we have that sacred space, where we have that communion with Spirit, realizing that we are one of Spirit, Spirit pressing out into visibility that is there to support all that we want to be, do, and have. Then we blend this. We blend the spirituality. We blend our faith. We blend our belief system into a supportive mechanism of what we want to accomplish and achieve in our lives. So they do go hand in hand. In fact, you can't separate them and do one without the other.
Exactly.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that. And I also like what you mentioned earlier about the law of compensation, because I'm a big believer of that. And I'm sure our audience would like to hear more about it. Can you please explain it further, Dr. Stephen?
Well, when we're talking about the law of compensation, that means that we're going to receive in direct proportion of the value that we put out there and how valuable we are, meaning how hard is it to replace us, right?
Yeah.
So what does that tell us? Whatever we're doing, whatever we're passionate about doing, whatever our life purpose is that we do, we want to do it in the very best way that we possibly can. We want to bring excellence and the extraordinary to every step we take, even when it doesn't look like it's part of the path.
Yes.
Okay? Because we want to provide, like what we're doing here, just so people know, we're not being compensated for this, but we know that what we really want, getting to that why, what we really want is to get this message out and serve more and more people.
Exactly.
Because we know that, hey, one of the laws that ties in with the law of compensation is the law of circulation.
Exactly.
As you give, you also receive. And we don't give so that we will receive and do it for that purpose, because God loves a cheerful giver, right?
Exactly.
We give because we are participating. We are called to participate in the flow, in the circulation. That's all part of the vibration that we're in. When we're providing value, when more people understand this message, that only we can communicate it in the way that we can as a couple. A lot of people teach from the same material, but most people communicate it in their own way, right? Because we're all unique. So when we are authentically and genuinely unique and share this body of knowledge the way that we understand it, the way that we model and demonstrate it in our lives, we are becoming hopefully more valuable to those that listen to our message. Some will relate to us and some will relate to other people, and that's absolutely fine. But the law of compensation says that we must do everything in our power to be as valuable as we possibly can to the demographic, the market, the people that we serve. And when we do that, we are compensated in many, many ways. It may be monetarily with nickels and dimes and quarters and paper dollars and hundreds and millions of pesos and things like that. But it's going to come in other ways through unexpected blessings. If I do participate in being a person of increase, for instance, and I do some good to lend you increase, to brighten your day, the law of compensation says that my good's going to come back to me. It has to, but it might not come through you or from you. It might come from, the next time I go to a restaurant. That happens all the time with us.
Yes.
We just did that.
Yes.
We've been tipping the bill when we go out. Which tipping the bill means we go to the restaurant. If the bill's $25, we tip $25. We did that last time we were traveling, and we tipped. The bill was $25. And we tipped $25, so wow, $50, right? And everybody thinks, wow, $50 gone. Well, guess what? Right after we left the restaurant, we walked in to extend the length of our rental car because we were staying longer than expected. By extending it past a week, it dropped the rate to their lower rate, and we saved over $50. And that was all we tipped, and within that hour, we got it right back from a rental car company. The law of compensation does work in mysterious ways.
It does.
Yes, amazing. And I also love that you talked about circulation. And something that I'm a big believer of is that what you mentioned earlier, it comes back in unexpected ways. But if you also expect that, for example, in my work as an energy healer, one of the things that people constantly talk about is not everybody is open to the idea of an energy exchange. But one of my teachers said, you also have to expect that people are capable so that they can rise up and become more empowered with your expectation. What can you say about it, Dr. Stephen? Should you expect people to rise up to that level of empowerment?
Well, we're taught that all the time. We see that all the time in so many of the books that you and I both studied, that, when we see the highest and best in someone, they will usually rise up to meet that expectation we have of that. We're not changing the person.
Yes.
We're just seeing the goodness that already exists within them.
Exactly.
And to speak to when you said that if some people don't believe in the energy exchange, it is there. Just walk into a room with somebody that's in a really, really bad mood, and you can feel that energy. You can feel that person that is in the room that's angry. It works both ways. You can feel that. Well, guess what? It works on the other side too, when there's positive, uplifting energy. So we're here to see the good that is the essence, the core of everyone we meet. And when we see the highest and best of you, guess what? That becomes our reality, and you will rise to that. It works all the time.
Yes. Thank you for sharing it, Dr. Stephen. It's such a powerful thing to hear. Especially, I know that it's a new thing for a lot of our viewers because the power of expectation, people unconsciously expect problems by the virtue of the conversations that we have with the people around us. So that deliberate intention of expecting the highest good from people, I know it shifts energy.
It does.
Yeah, and let me just leave your viewers and listeners with the words, that you have to take your eyes and your focus on what's outside of you and focus on the inside of you.
Exactly.
When I talked to Bob Friday, he told me to share today that there is a power in you that's far greater, and we've also see this in Scripture.
Exactly.
There is a power within you that is far greater than anything you will ever encounter in the world around you. No matter what it was, take your eyes off the illusion of lack and limitation. Take your eyes off of poverty and problems, and look at the goodness and the grace and the flow that is within you, that you're participating in, and stand in that energy, stand in your power.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen and Tene. And in fact, I'm definitely going to apply what you mentioned about writing it 100 times. Maybe it's the detail that I'm missing out. So I'm going to update both of you for it. And at the same time, Do you have other things that you'd like to share to the audience before we end the show?
What about your program you got coming up?
Oh, yes. November 30th at 11 a.m. I am in our private Facebook group.
Well, that would get 11 a.m.
Oh, wait.
That's going to be kind of,
Oh,
that'll
wait.
be 2 o'clock in the morning your time.
Yeah,
but you know
well,
what? They
they
can
can
always
always
catch the replay.
exactly.
And it's free.
It's
Mhm.
completely
Okay.
free, and it's called Ditch the Weight. And this is not just ditching the weight on the physical body, but it
Almost
is.
up.
But also, it's ditching the weight in the mind that's actually causing all of that weight gain in the first place. So,
Wow.
So you find that in Success Ocean Inner Circle, but if you find us anywhere, we'll get you into that group.
Wow.
right.
Thank you for sharing it. So that's going to be November 13th. And it's going to be 2 a.m. Philippine time.
But yeah, they
November
can log in when
30.
they get up and they can watch, the live version in there. We'll
Right.
keep them posted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
November 30th.
All right. And
It starts that
Ralph,
day.
No, actually it'd be 1 p.m. because I think we're 14 hours different. So if it's 11, it'll be 1 a.m. Manila time.
Okay.
all right. Ralph, please flash the website again. All right. We just want to thank our sponsors, Unity Philippines and Benedictine International School. And please go back to Dr. Stephen's there. So this is Success Ocean International. You can search it in Google. It will lead you to their website. And next one, please. All right. And Dr. Stephen and I actually went to University of Metaphysics.
Mhm.
And Dr. Stephen, is there anything you would like to share about the university?
It's great. It's real and it's rewarding. I would encourage everybody to check it out if you have an interest in furthering your studies of metaphysical sciences. I did get my bachelor's, my master's, and my doctorate from them. And great people to work with, and they have a tremendous program that makes it affordable for anybody by pooling together the resources of all of us as alumni. So check it out, University of
Yes.
Metaphysics and University of Sedona.
Yes. Thank you for that, Dr. Stephen and Tene. Next one, please. So this is the scholarship program. It's available to everyone. You can just go to universityofmetaphysics.com. And we'd also like to thank all our guests on the show who visited us, Dr. Anita Caprice, Dr. Diana Vihuni, Dr. Cindy Palos, Dr. Yolanda Dukes, and Jennifer Hill and Dr. Kathleen Riley. Please go back to Dr. Stephen's page. All right. So we'll have everybody visit your website. And for those of you who have other questions, we can just direct you to their Facebook. And you can just add them on Facebook.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Dr. Stephen and
Thank
Tene,
you.
for gracing the show.
Very much.
And I also want to invite everyone for a simple prayer.
Yes.
And it's simply close your eyes. And together, let's affirm the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
All right.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And definitely, we want to have Dr. Stephen and Tene visit us again so we can talk about the amazing journey that they both have. Especially Dr. Stephen said it's actually a trilogy. Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trilogy of Tribulation.
Yeah.
And Brett,
And we
real
want to
quick,
hear more about it.
And real quick, I want to tell you, I'm also an ordained Unity minister, and I'm going to do my 8 o'clock service right now, right after this, on Unity Prosperity on Facebook. Unity Prosperity, which is short for Unity Prosperity Ocean International, which is my ministry. Unity Prosperity. You can find my morning message this morning in about 20 minutes.
All right. Thank you so much. and have fun,
Thank you
everyone.
so much for having us. God bless you.
Thank you, everybody.
Remember, here in Practical Magic, we want to remind you, you're actually the magic that you've been waiting for.
Consistently delivering the very best in metaphysics here in Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Till next time, only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio, Manila.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy.